Our Democratic Party leadership doesn't get it. Full stop. They are ineffective and they are out of touch. And no one displayed that more than Chuck Schumer did tonight. Chuck Schumer, what are you thinking? I know he did not vote yes on this continuing resolution, but it was a failure of leadership to allow 8 Democratic senators to do so, to sell us out, to sell out every federal worker who has been going without pay during the entirety of this shutdown. And now what do they get? Their health care premiums to double and triple because Republicans have completely played Chuck Schumer once again, Donald Trump, in the cognitively declining state that he's in, somehow won this fight? No, we will not take it. And one Democrat really isn't taking it because they just stepped up and made a move that will mean the end of Chuck Schumer's career as the leader of the Democrats in the Senate. We are going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into why this is the end for Chuck Schumer, I want to start with what Bernie Sanders just posted explaining how we move forward after this vote.
Tonight, 8 Democrats voted with the Republicans to allow them to go forward on this continuing resolution. And to my mind, this was a very, very bad vote. What it does, first of all, is it raises healthcare premiums for over 20 million Americans by doubling, and in some cases tripling or quadrupling. People can't afford that when we are already paying the highest prices in the world for healthcare. Number 2, it paves the way for 15 million people to be thrown off of Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. Studies show that will mean that some 50,000 Americans will die every year unnecessarily. And all of that was done to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1%. As everybody knows, just on Tuesday, we had an election all over this country. And what the election showed is that the American people want us to stand up to Trumpism, to his war against working class people, to his authoritarianism. That is what the American people wanted, but tonight, that is not what happened. So we've got to go forward, do the best that we can to try to protect working class people, to make sure that the United States not only does not throw people off of health care, but ends the absurdity of being the only major country on earth that doesn't guarantee health care to all people. We got a lot of work to do. But to be honest with you, tonight was not a good night. Thank you.
Bernie is right. And who is that a surprise to? No one. He's actually in touch with what real people think and how the base is feeling. And how we're feeling is pissed. Because again, it's not just about us being thrown under the bus. It's that 50,000 people will unnecessarily die because of Donald Trump, Republicans, and the billionaires who they work for. Of treatable illnesses, out of fear of medical bankruptcy, out of an inability for our government officials to break once with their corporate overlords and actually serve us. That has not happened. And all we saw tonight was weakness. And that's what we've seen too much of. Capitulation to Donald Trump in all forms, not just from Democrats in Congress far too frequently, but big institutions, Wall Street banks, universities, media outlets, everybody is doing it. So maybe we ought to have some backbone. Gavin Newsom certainly did tonight before we get into the move. That will be the end for Chuck Schumer. Newsom slams pathetic shutdown deal as surrender. California Governor Gavin Newsom has come out swinging against the Senate's tentative deal to end the government shutdown, deeming it a Democratic surrender. But Newsom and other prominent Democrats have spoken out against the deal, which does not provide the immediate extension of Obamacare subsidies that Democrats sought, but reportedly promises a December vote on the matter. Pathetic. This isn't a real deal. It's a surrender. Don't bend the knee. It is so important that Gavin Newsom is speaking up because he is setting a precedent for every single other elected Democratic leader across the country, and really any Democrat who seeks to lead our party in the future, whether that be winning a primary in the coming midterms, trying to win the presidential primary in 2028. Democrats, if you are not on board with change, if you are not on board with having a backbone, if you are not on board with actually fighting this administration, stopping with the fucking strongly worded letters in doing something, then you are not a part of this party anymore. And you should not get the opportunity to be in it, in any elected office, certainly not lead it. And that is what we are hearing from so many Democrats. And it's not just about the regular old leadership. It is very specific, and it is about Chuck Schumer, who has once again disappointed us all tonight. And that is why we just saw a move that might have been unthinkable from Ro Khanna in this tweet right here. Ro Khanna wrote on Twitter, "Senator Schumer is no longer effective and should be replaced. If you can't lead the fight to stop healthcare premiums from skyrocketing for Americans, what will you fight for?" Brian Tyler Cohen jumped in as well, writing, "We're not going to fix the Democratic Party brand by doing TikToks or launching podcasts. The brand is a direct reflection of the strength of our elected officials. If we want to purge our weakening brand, we have to purge the weak Democrats. I'm looking forward to a robust primary cycle and ushering in a new era of Democrats who actually know how to fight." AOC, who might be a part of a primary very soon, wrote, "The average monthly SNAP benefit is $117 a person. The average ACA benefit is up to $550 a person a month. People want us to hold the line for a reason. This is a matter of appealing to a base. It's about people's lives. Working people want leaders whose words mean something." So Ro Khanna, who is not running for Senate, and being asked whether he would vote for Chuck Schumer if he were to be elected, is taking an extraordinary step in trying to change the landscape of the Democratic leadership by saying, as a member of the House, Democrats, progressive Democrats, centrist Democrats, all Democrats need to get on board and replace Chuck Schumer right now. Chuck Schumer needs to lose his role as Senate Minority Leader. He can no longer represent this party in the Senate because he has failed to do so. And he is doing irreparable harm to our country, first and foremost, but also the brand of the Democratic Party. And the brand of the Democratic Party is not some abstract concept that only means something to me and you because we want to feel good about the team we're on. That's not it. This is not about politics. If Democrats are untrustworthy because our leadership is untrustworthy and we keep fucking people over, then no one is going to vote for the political party that actually wants to put an end to this reign of terror, to this regime, and people will continue to get hurt even more. That is clearly what is so misunderstood by the Democrats who decided to vote for this continuing resolution tonight, is that you cannot put a Band-Aid on a bullet hole and expect things to be fine. It is only going to get worse if you continue to capitulate. Donald Trump has never been weaker. After a week in which he suffered loss after loss, humiliation after humiliation, election losses across the country on Tuesday, earlier this week he fell asleep in the Oval Office. Tonight he was booed by a stadium of tens of thousands of people to his face. And you're giving him a win. It doesn't make sense. And it's going to do so much damage. And that is why there are more Democrats who are sounding like Ro Khanna is. And Ro has been an incredible leader. He really has been throughout the Trump presidency. And this is it for Chuck Schumer. If you have, and I don't mean random, like Ro Khanna is just like some guy off the street, but if you have like random House members saying that Chuck Schumer needs to lose his job right now, it is over for him. Like, that is insurmountable momentum against Chuck Schumer. He will not be the leader of the Democrats in the Senate come 2026, but it might even be sooner. It honestly might be. And then you're talking about whether or not he'll stick around in the Senate? Fuck no. I don't know if AOC is going to run for Senate or she's going to run for president. In my opinion, I think she should run for president. There are other incredible Democrats in the state of New York. Like Pat Ryan comes to mind as someone who's maybe a little bit more moderate and not exactly my speed, but someone who, of course, would be an upgrade over Chuck Schumer. And that's not to say Pat Ryan's not a great Democrat. Do I think AOC would be better than Pat Ryan? Yeah, but AOC is president. AOC in that mix, I think that'd be fantastic. But Chuck Schumer, it's done. It's a wrap. It's over. 80% of Democrats in the base want Chuck Schumer to lose his job. I'm sure that number is similar to the people who do not want him to be in the Senate either. But something like this would have previously been unthinkable. Ro Khanna saying Chuck Schumer should lose his job. Again, not running for Senate, not in the Senate, just creating momentum. Because this is a moment for the party's base, right? This isn't a moment for the establishment, the people who've been in Washington for decades. No, this is a movement that is going to be organic and going to be grassroots and is going to be fueled by people who want to really change the direction of this party. Change the economic direction. Say, yeah, we're gonna be an economic populist party. Medicare for all. That is what we're doing. We're not having a discussion about it. Okay? We're not gonna let some fucking corporate centrist lib tell us that we're not gonna give everyone health care. You will be taken care of. Full stop. We're not getting some blood-sucking corporate middleman to fuck that up for some campaign contributions. Same thing goes for all the other lobbies. Crypto, oil, AIPAC. Don't even get me started. We're saying no to the Israel lobby. That is what a new Democratic Party will look like. That is someone like Peggy Flanagan. That is someone like Abdul Sayed. That is someone like Graham Plattner. All people running for Senate. Minnesota, Michigan, Maine. Those people aren't Schumer-backed. We don't want the Schumer-backed people. We want people who are going to build a real movement. We're going to need more Bernie Sanders types, and Bernie went off tonight.
Now, I know as part of this resolution that the majority leader is going to say, well, Democrats can put together their own bill, and it'll come to the floor here in the Senate for a vote. As everybody here knows, that is a totally meaningless gesture. You can get 100 votes here in the Senate. Won't mean anything because the House is not going to take it up, and the President of the United States certainly will not sign it. So, Mr. President, I hope that anybody here who is thinking of voting for this reconsiders, goes back home and talks to their constituents and asks them what it will mean if their health care premiums are doubled or tripled. Thank you, Mr. President.
This is how the Democratic Party has to sound. Real, authentic, actually fighting for people. Glad we have Bernie to do that. And I'm glad that this is the end for Chuck Schumer. It is. It really is. And it's going to be. And we're going to continue to cover that on this show. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.